Here we go.
This is gonna be an adventure on its own. All the people are gonna come, cause it's time for PeaCreaLive. Mr. Big and
I love that we have an intro and outro. It's pretty cool.
Totally. Welcome to the show, everybody. Arno loves that we have an intro and outro, and I do too.
I
We
do.
hope you do too. And welcome all to another edition of PeaCreaLive. And as you can see today, we're going to talk about a big topic that is what is your purpose? What is my purpose? What's my purpose? I'm trying to figure it out, and we're going to do it on the show today. We're going to solve the question of purpose once and for all time. So, how are you? Welcome to the show, Arno. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, David. And yeah, this week we're solving what is my purpose. The next week, the meaning of life. And after that, I think we can stop because there is no more
Then we're done.
questions
Yeah,
worth answering. Yeah, we're done. We're
yeah.
done. Our mission here is done, and we can go back to planet X beta theta 35.
I'm still looking forward to going home to that planet.
Oh yeah, and the there's no the goulash to do there, man. There's no other places
Best
like that.
goulash, best goulash.
Vegan goulash. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
the dolphins talk there, so it's great.
Well, yeah, they talk here as well, but here most people
We
don't
haven't
get
figured
them.
it
But
out yet. We haven't figured it out yet.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anybody, if you're watching, if you know how dolphins speak, if you know dolphin language, please tell us. Also, you're welcome to chat about anything else you want with us on the show. We will get your comment. We will put it on the show, and we will activate the conversation around your comment. So let us know what you want to know about with purpose. Is this something you think about? Is it something you've been thinking more about lately because of the crazy times that we're in? Is it something that you feel like you've never thought about and don't care? Why don't you write to us and let us know, and we'll figure out what to do with that information. So, Arnaud, let's take a stab at this. What are your first thoughts? What first comes up with you when I ask this question? What is your purpose?
So there is a coaching technique called the logical levels.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I forgot the name of the guy who invented that, but basically, it's a pyramid. And you start by looking at what's around you, like the place, the physical stuff around you. Then you go to your actions, what you do in those places. Then you move to your skills, your aptitudes. And that part of the pyramid is the doing. And then you go into the being part, which is what are the values which are connected to that, and what is the identity. And when I learned that the end is the identity. Who are you when you do all those things when you're in this environment? But what I later learned is that above that is purpose. Purpose is supposed to be the thing that's bigger than everything else. It's like, okay, I work in this company, I use this and these skills, I use Python and I use my soft skills or my leadership skills. My values are communication and honesty. I am a leader, but the purpose is bigger than me. It's like, why am I doing this? Why does it matter? And this is what came to mind when, I don't know why, like just right now it came to me when you were asking me this question.
Sorry, I was muted. I like that. This idea that somewhere there's your identity, but then there's a purpose that's even bigger than your identity. That's interesting because people try to put purpose inside their identity. If you're gonna look at one bigger than the other, people try to say, okay, I am David and this is my purpose. But what if purpose is bigger than your character? What if purpose is bigger than your human self? Then kind of that feels like a much more real way to think about it. You know, the idea that there's some purpose and I'm one piece of that purpose. And
Exactly.
this purpose is being fulfilled somehow through me, but it's not my purpose. That feels so much more relaxing. And that kind of invalidates the question of the whole episode. What is my purpose? The answer is there isn't one. You don't have one. There is a purpose to your life, but it's bigger than you. You're a piece of
And
it.
cue to the outro.
Outro,
Thank you,
outro. Yeah. I like that way of
No,
thinking
yeah,
about
totally.
it a lot.
That's I like that's what you said, that it's actually relaxing and relieving, and wow, okay, so there is this great thing. I'm playing my part in it. For example, I was talking with a client recently, and her purpose was doing good for the planet. And I think that's a marvelous example, because you could take that and use it as a burden, because there's a lot of things to do so that the planet feels good or gets better, you know. And if you take it as it's my purpose, then shit, I'm not doing a great job because it's only mine. And look at all those dolphins dying because they cannot communicate properly as they do on the goulash planet we're talking about. Look at this plastic in the ocean, blah, blah, blah. But once you feel it as a purpose, which is bigger than you, which is above the pyramid, and then you can be like, okay, so with this identity, with this value, this is how I want to contribute to that purpose. And I know that because it's important to me, it's important to 1 million people this way, 1 million people this way, and they are also working toward the same purpose. And together we are stronger, and this purpose is achievable. You know, this is not an utopia anymore. There we can do and act and work toward this purpose.
Yeah, it's actually, then the question becomes, from this perspective, the question becomes not, you know, how do I do my purpose? But the better question now is, who are the other people who share my purpose?
Yes.
And I think that's a much more fun way and easier way and more productive way and more sustainable way and more effective and impactful way to actually act on what you might consider your purpose is, you know, to ask that question. Who else shares my purpose? You know, it's not your purpose. It's a purpose. And you're one piece of that purpose. I think this is, I feel like if we did stop the episode here, it would be an amazing episode. I'm serious. Like that's a huge shift. It's a huge shift from thinking that we have to have a purpose to what purpose am I a part of? You know, because people, I mean, you know, people go I've worked with so many people on their purpose, and they're so stressed about it. They're so think like, what is my purpose? How do I know what it is? How do I find it? How do I work on it? You know, we start getting in our minds all these things from society and inspirational speakers like, if you're not working on your purpose, you're not doing your best work. And, you know, if you're not working on your purpose, you're never going to reach your full potential and all these things. And so the critical part of our mind just latches onto those kind of ideas, you know, and just starts, you know, we use purpose ends up becoming a way to self-criticize, you know, and a way to add stress instead of an opportunity to find something we love to work on. It just becomes a huge, like a burden and a stress. And I felt that too. You know, I've been thinking about, you know, purpose ever since I started. I mean, even before I started working for myself. I mean, the whole reason I, you know, went to business school back in like 2008. And before that, it was always trying to find my purpose. I mean, I've been doing, you know, so many things trying to get to my purpose. And still there's a part of my mind that's like, I'm not sure you're really working on your most important thing yet. You know, still there's a part of my mind saying that. So, you know, what I've been telling people from, you know, recently, the last few years in my coaching is that your purpose is not one thing. Your purpose is a shifting thing that you are constantly getting in touch with deeper and deeper and deeper, and it changes its form. And your purpose is a process. It's not one thing. It's a process of continually rediscovering who you really are. And it's not like it's one job, that's not, your purpose doesn't equal one job. Your purpose doesn't equal one business. Your purpose doesn't equal one project. Your purpose is an evolution, because consciousness is here to evolve. This consciousness is purpose. So that's the bigger purpose. But then all of that still puts purpose in the realm of it's something that's mine. It's something I still have to figure out. Okay, I'm not going to solve just one. I'm not going to just do one particular purpose, but I have to figure out how to do my purpose process, but what you're saying goes outside of that, even what you're saying is like, well, what if it's not yours? What if it's just, it exists in consciousness and you're an actor. You're a piece of the puzzle. You're part of that. And I think that makes so much more sense.
So if I was Rich Litvin, I would say, I coach around insights. Sometimes just a few moments can change lives forever. And then I would charge you $50,000 a year for this kind of stuff. But I'm not him. And although I do think this kind of shift can happen like in a moment, like it apparently just did for you. But what I want to say toward that is that's just one definition of purpose. The one that you've been coaching all those years is perfectly valid, because again, there is not one reality. We are each living in a reality which is slightly different, and the whole game of life is making our reality as joyful and as enjoyable as we can without damaging the realities of the people around us. I believe. So. But yes, this distinction between, okay, so if it's mine, it's a goal, and if it's bigger than me, it's the purpose. I think it works pretty well, and I think, unless you're Elon Musk and you're like, okay, so we need to make electric cars useful. Okay, all right, I'm going to take care of that. Unless you're this kind of ET, then the purpose typically is a goal which is so out there and so ambitious that if you were trying to tackle it by yourself, it would be overwhelming. But again, as we're saying earlier, if you know that there are a lot of people on each side who want to do the same thing, then you fantastically formulated the question is, how do I get in touch with those people so we can all do our thing parallelly and help each other and and move toward it together? And this is what you started doing with the Relovution, right? But the first time you talked to me about that, I was like, well, okay, it sounds cool, but I'm not quite sure what it is. But the more you talk about it, the more you think about it, the more you share about it, the more the idea of community and connecting with people and building this new world, which is free from this greed connected to the interest system that you told me about. You have this purpose, right? You're like, okay, this system, the way we use money is broken. It puts us in ego state where we do things we don't want to do, to quote Tyler, to have things we don't need. And you're like, I want to change that, but that's big. That's a big one. So you create this so that you can find other people who want to do the same. So it sounds like a pretty nice purpose to me.
Yeah.
How does it resonate with you?
Well, you're right. I didn't know what Relovution was, and I think it's getting more and more clear that it is part of a purpose that I'm part of, and I would have said before this conversation, it's clear that it's part of my purpose, but now the way I want to say it is, it's clear that there is a big societal shift happening, and there is a larger purpose of creating a more beautiful, loving world that wants to happen. And it's not just me feeling it, it's so many people feeling it. And so then this revolution is just, well, what's a piece I can contribute right now? You know? And so it doesn't have to be this be all end all project. It doesn't even have to go anywhere. But the question is, what's a piece I can contribute right now? And maybe what I'm going to learn from the revolution is something I'm going to use later to create a shift, to help create a shift. You know, maybe I'm going to meet someone on the course of doing the revolution that becomes extremely pivotal person in my life. You know, maybe who knows what this piece really is for. But when we think of the purpose is outside of us, it's not our purpose, but it's outside of us. It's a something we're participating in. Then it just, yeah, it takes off so much pressure, and it makes it so much easier to be like, okay, well, what's my piece? That's right now, you know, based on my skills, based on what I like to do, you know, what's my little piece of this purpose? You know, it doesn't have to be, I don't have to solve it. It doesn't have to be some huge thing. I don't have to come up with like, you know, the next gigantic business model. You know, I don't have to come up with like the thing that shifts society. All I have to do is, what's my little piece? What's the piece that fits with me? Because that's my piece of this bigger purpose. It's not mine. I signed up for whatever reason based on what's in my heart, what's in my soul, based on my skills, based on my interests. I signed up to be part of this big purpose team. You know, so what's my little piece of this team? And maybe your piece is just writing something and it's a very solo effort. Or maybe your piece is like, you know what, I'm going to make my job to find other people with that same purpose, and then we'll figure out what to do. Or maybe your piece is actually facilitating, creating something that lets other people act based on that purpose. You know what I mean? So it's much more flexible, open. It feels much more flowing to think of purpose this way as not mine, but I'm part of a bigger one. And maybe there's if these purposes exist kind of outside us, if they're in the kind of the intelligence of consciousness and where we just kind of sign up for them, if that's the case, then maybe there's more than one that I've signed up for too. You know, maybe like I, you know, there's this purpose of creating a more beautiful, loving world, and Revolution's part of that. Maybe there's this big purpose of like getting people, like, laughter is great, like more societal laughter, you know. Maybe that's why I do improv. You know what I mean? Because I signed up for that purpose too. You know,
no, please.
No, that's it. It's just much more open.
Yeah, and that's what you've been coaching all these years. You know, you were like, well, you don't need to fixate on one purpose. You know, it's like follow your excitement and go from purposes to purpose. So it's basically the same, even if we consider that purpose is something that's higher than us, that's beyond ourselves. You know, it's like, doesn't it? Okay, you want the good of the planet, all right, but you might want this more loving world as well, and you might also want this societal laughter, as you said, and kind of getting driven by the flow of your life, of the events, of your failure, of your successes. You might be like, well, you know what? I think I really did my part for this, and now I don't feel I'm drained. So maybe I will move towards this other bigger purpose, you know. That's okay, you know. And I think maybe consciously or not, that's one of the things that the coaches and gurus, productivity gurus you were mentioning earlier, that's one of the things they are trying to say, I guess, you know, follow something that really motivates you and that really, you know, brings you joy, and you will do your best work. Just maybe what they should be more precise on is don't fixate on that and don't think it has to be for life and that there is just one thing.
Yeah. But there's something that feels so good about saying like, but it's not just mine. You know what I mean? Like there's something that feels freeing about all of my quote unquote failures when I see them in this light, you know, because from a different perspective, if it's my purpose, I must do this in the world or Like the
Yeah,
world is
on
gonna
worse,
miss
or
out
yeah,
miss out on my gift, or I'm not gonna shine my light, or something is gonna be worse because I don't do my purpose in the world, or I'm never gonna find my fulfillment because I don't do my purpose in the world.
mm,
And there's something different from you, there's something that loosens much more freedom when it comes from a place of like, is something going on over there, by the way?
yes, something's going on. Sorry, just one.
All right, I'll just keep going. There's something that feels so
I'm
freeing.
back. Sorry.
Oh, it's cool. There's something that's just so freeing about the idea that no, 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 this purpose is in the collective consciousness.
Yes.
And I really believe this because we're all one. I mean, that's what the revolution is about. It's about how we're all one. Like, what if we start acting like that, including like our, how we exchange, how we make exchanges. But, the 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 purposes are already in the collective consciousness. The collective intelligence, the intelligence of the universe knows already what is the best, highest, next thing. And all of us have signed up to have signed up for some part of that, so it's not our purpose. We signed up to on like a mailing list, you know, and if we listen enough, we get the emails from the universe that in the form of inspiration, our heart's inspiration and our joy. Those are the emails from the universe saying, "This is what you signed up for. Go do that. This is what you signed up for. You don't have to make it this, it's not your burden. This is like your exciting way. You wanted to work on this big purpose that's outside of you with these other people."
Love that. I love that. Um, I think you guys, if you're watching and if you have some questions or insights regarding purpose, well, it's the great time to write it down in the comments so that we can react to that. And it's also a great time to join our mailing list, David and I, because it's not quite as dope as the one from the universe, but it's pretty cool as well. So the links are below.
It's pretty dope.
But I think at this point it's time that I share my kind of why this, because you came up with this theme of what is my purpose today, and the reason I told you, let's do that, is that the way it resonates with my life now is that I don't know what is this bigger purpose that I'm a part of, because I've just achieved several milestones in my life, in various parts of my life, kind of at the same time, like within a month's span. And I'm a little bit in okay, what do I do now mode? And I would like to do it, to go to the next phase of my life with purpose in mind. It's like, okay, I'm doing all this stuff. Okay, it's bringing money, it's bringing joy to clients, it's bringing happiness. Okay, all right. But, what's the big picture behind it, And
It sounds like the perfect time to get a coach to help you with that. Have you already thought of that?
yeah. I'm starting with a coach tomorrow.
Boom. There you go. That's right, people.
Yeah.
Arno walks the talk. He does what he says. He lives how he lives his own advice. Coaching works anyway.
Yeah, coaching works, guys. I mean, quit the shit and just get a coach, even if it's not David or I, just get a coach. I mean, if there's a bin and you spit it out, there's probably a coach in there. There are coaches everywhere. So get a coach,
There's a there's a coach in the garbage behind you right now. There's a coach hiding in the garbage. Just empty the garbage, and a coach is gonna fall out. That's how many coaches there are. Just hire him, okay? He's in your garbage because he wants to help you. Just hire the coach. Yeah.
He sacrificed his dignity just to be in your garbage for you. So give the man a hug and hire him and get coached. But seriously, guys, I mean, Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, he has a coach. Okay, every Bill Gates has a coach. Everyone has a coach, and it feels awesome to get coached. Whatever you're dealing with in life, whatever level of success you are, whatever subject, get a coach. Okay, end of the story. Get a coach, and that's it. And yes, that's one of the themes that I'm going to talk about with my coach tomorrow. But since we're already talking about it today, I'm like, I want to share, because I'm a little bit jealous of my clients when she's like, well, I asked her, okay, so, and what's above that? What's above your identity? And she was like, well, the good of the planet. And I was like, oh. I wish I was that clear on that, for myself. And I'm not. I did some exercise around Ikigai, this Japan,
Yes.
Yeah. So for those who are watching who don't know, Ikigai, it's the intersection of 4 circles. What you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what can brings money. And the intersection of those 4 circles is the Ikigai. And supposedly, the Japanese say that if you orientate your life in this Ikigai, then you are at the right spot in the universe, and the universe helps you. Just like a fox in the nature being a fox, there is no foxier than a fox. So if you're in your Ikigai, you're your best you, and kind of universe flow. That's what they say. So I tried for myself, and my 2 Ikigais that I found is music and helping people. And knowing that there is that, I was like, all right, so I'm going to become a coach. I've been knowing since I'm 13 years old that I want to be a coach. I didn't know it's the name at the time, but so that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I've been doing for a year now, or close to a year. But now I don't know. I don't have this higher purpose. What do you think about that, Davey? How you think?
Well, so in the Ikigai model, you can have 2 Ikigais? You can have more than
I
one?
don't know. I don't know. I found 2, and the 2 fit the circle, so I kept 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes me think, like, is there something that combines them? It makes me think, like, is there a way to use your music as well to help people? I'm not no, I don't know if that would be even fun for you, but that's my first thought is there a way to even combine those things into something that you haven't tried? Because, remember we were talking on one episode about your unique skill stack?
Yeah.
How like, someone else might be a better musician than you. Someone else might be a better coach than you, but there's probably very few people who are as good a musician and coach combo that you are, along with other skill stacks that you have. So that unique skill stack that you have lets you create something unique in the world if you wanted to, like what would like coaching music even look like? I don't know,
I stumbled upon a guy once. I don't know how I found him, but like his video, he had a video, and he was talking about how sometime he's a pianist, and he used his piano skills during a coaching session. Like the I think the client had trouble visualizing the future, like a goal, realized goal or something. And I was like, okay, sit down, relax, listen to this piece of music, and what does it bring to your mind? And
That's
just
awesome.
played.
That's awesome. That's a great
Yeah,
example.
I was like, wow. Yeah.
So if you're open to it, my guess would be that you will be kind of drawn into opportunities to use your music in combined with, your coaching and the way you're going to try to help people. Like, for example, making musical tracks for a meditation, for example, that we might one day offer on our Patreon that we're thinking about. Just an exact example like that. So, if you, but there is still the question of, okay, but what's that bigger thing that I signed up to serve?
Exactly.
What's that bigger thing that I signed up to serve? And I think this question is so important right now because of all the crazy shit that's going on too. Like, I mean, the virus situation, the racism situation, the revealing of the Hong Kong situation, the revealing of all the levels of oppression built into our society, the revealing of all the like systemic ways poverty is maintained by our society. You know, the the revealing of all the unbelievable waste generated by our society. You know, systemically. You know, we have. There's apparently, I was reading some book the other day that said, you know, there's like 19 million like unused properties, like vacant properties in the United States, like livable vacant properties in the United States or something. And like,
My God.
you know, but meanwhile, there's like, you know, all these homeless people everywhere, you know? So it's like we see these kind of things in our society everywhere. These gigantic, this just gigantic abundance right next to somehow incredible lack. You know, how is that the case? And these things are systemically built into our society. And it's, I see the whole the racism thing the thing that's happening with, you know, in America right now with African Americans is like is a symptom of that larger issue of separation and oppression. You know, that exists in a whole lot of levels in our society. So, you know, this time I think is asking a lot of people, what's our purpose really? What is my friggin' purpose? What am I doing? You know, and the question is, if this question is on your mind, what is my purpose? I'm glad you're getting this. I'm glad you're going to start working with someone on this, because if this question is on your mind, what is my real purpose? It's going to eat it. It's going to eat at you if you ignore it. It's going to get like louder and louder and louder. And every single like piece of work that you do, every time you go to the office and you feel like this isn't my purpose, it's just going to get, you know, heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier until you put some energy toward opening to whatever purpose is trying to activate through you. Not your purpose, but whatever purpose is trying to activate through your skills, you know, your excitement. Yeah. So
I can really hear the example that you gave, they are really related to this more loving and caring world, you know, which is apparently one of the purpose you subscribed to the most at the moment, you know, connected to the real evolution, because I could feel the passion and the energy, and like how you know that what you're doing now is impacting that, you know, this, because it's all about the gift economy and not being fixated on interest and always more, but like being more, you know, humble and sharing and things like that. And that's exactly what you were talking about, those millions of uninhabited house and this million of homeless people, you know, which is like, and because the same is happening in many countries regarding foods, right? They are like supermarkets, they have to throw away food which is perfectly good, and on the other hand, you have like a family like who cannot feed their children in the United States, right?
Yeah.
Not even going into all the countries which are in a much, which are overall in a bad situation. Like, you know, I'm thinking about some African countries with malaria, etc. But like, just if we think, if we take the example of the United States, there is this cleavage of the no. No, this is a wrong translation from French. Cleavage means a separation, but not a cleavage. There are some cleavage in the United States, but that's not the point. There is this massive separation, you know, and I can feel that your purpose is like, yeah, dude, that's what you're gonna work on, you know, do the real evolution. You're going to help solve that. And for me, the one thing that came back to my mind as we were talking, I am super sensible to the injustice, to the when the kids and it's gonna sound paradoxical because I'm not vegan, and the animals, when the kids and the animals they suffer, I'm like, why? This drives me nuts, you know, just talking about that, because if I don't know, when I see a 40 years old who is fucking his life away, who's doing some bad decision, I'm like, okay, I know that there's his inner child who's pure and everything, but right now he's making some bad decisions, so it's still not cool for him, but I can see why it's happening. But when it's a child or when it's an animal, I'm like, fuck, there is no way. it did nothing to deserve that, you know. Kids who are born, I was talking about malaria, you know, there are countries in in Africa where malaria kills like a lot of children, you know, and we can save their life with like, I think $1 or $2 just to buy a mosquito net, you know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And this kind of stuff, or like the stuff that always make me cry in movies when like a kid is being separated from his parents. So maybe my purpose is connected with that, but I don't know how to formulate it. But I know that this is, of all the problems that are around us, I think my purpose is connected to that one. And I don't know what it means, but that's the one I subscribe to the most.
Well, it's interesting. You should say this, you know, like this, because one of the ways I used to teach purpose had to do with, you know, getting people to figure out what upsets them most in the world as a clue to what they would be most interested in trying to solve. And many people have gone through life experiences that are extremely traumatic, you know, that no one else would want to go through those experiences. But what happens is they come out on the other side and they use their experience and that trauma to help others, you know, deal with that, or to help that thing stop. You know, like the example is there are many, you know, charities, for example, in the U.S. Trying to stop drunk driving. Very often these charities are created by someone who lost a son, or lost a child, or lost a partner to a drunk driving accident, you know? And so like that's the kind of, that is one way to try to examine what you might feel would be purposeful, is looking at, you know, the traumas. You know, I mean, you might want to examine your own life, understand why. I mean, we probably have some clues, you know, that already, knowing each other the way we do, but why when kids are separated from their parents, does that seem to really get you? You know, I mean, I know that for me, that injustice also used to really, 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 really bother me. And it was based on my own trauma related to feeling powerless. You know, it was like, and so whenever I saw like someone in a powerless position, like a child or an animal being abused, it would just bring up in me the most, like, I would have that as a very similar reaction, like it would just ache me so much. And I'm of course, you know, I'm talking like that's gone away now, but the difference is it hasn't gone away from a perspective of like, I want that to stop. I know we can stop it, but it's gone away from a perspective of like, I'm not like, it's not my pain anymore. You know what I mean? It's not like hurting me every time I think about it, but my energy toward solving it hasn't gone away at all, you know? So like going through working on those traumas, doing that emotional processing has actually freed up energy to work on it, because I'm not so incapacitated by it anymore. I remember watching a video once, like 5 years ago, watching a video of like how fur is made, you know? And it was one of these like videos by PETA, and they sometimes have like graphic videos, you know, like people for the, I don't remember what PETA stands for, but anyway, it was a video about how fur was being made. And I watched this video, and it was like a 3-minute video, and I was absolutely in tears. I was in tears, like shaking tears. And that video stayed with me. It was for days. I was just like so racked by the unbelievable suffering going on. And like, most people don't even know about it. And people are spending money are giving money for this stuff to be happening. And I was just like, so upset about it. But I had to look at, okay, wait. Me sitting here crying my eyes out isn't helping these animals. So like, what do I really want to do with this trauma? Do I want to go to, you know, some fur place in China where a lot of them are, and like stand there with a sign and try to stop people from going in? Is that what is in my heart? Like, no, that's not actually what's in my heart. You know, okay, so what is in my heart? Well, first, this thing is to be with these feelings. So I had to do the work to be with the feelings, be with all the trauma. And these videos were bringing up in me my hurt, my own wounds, you know? And so when I work with those wounds and finally kind of start to get on the other side of those wounds through the emotional processing techniques that we use, I started to realize like I am more committed than ever of living a lifestyle that doesn't contribute to this suffering, you know? And I mean, that's the reason I don't buy leather products. It's the reason I don't, my shoes are vegan. It's the reason I eat the way I do, you know what I mean? Or part of the reason, but the point is it gave me the chance to be like, well, wait, once I got through the trauma, it gave me the chance to be like, well, wait, what is in my alignment to do about this? Because I could sit here crying at videos for years, feel like nothing's ever changing, just be like, let the weight of it destroy me, and I could maybe do something crazy in reaction to the trigger, like turn into a full-time animal rights activist, but, and some people that might be their path. But once I got through the trauma, it gave me more opportunities to see, wait, what is in my real alignment in relation to this issue? And for me, that was just living my life in certain ways and being an example. And when people ask me about it, I'll tell them. And, sometimes sharing the stories like this, you know what I mean? That was much more in my alignment than making some. Yeah. So I think that we have to be careful. Is what the big point of that story is, like, when we have a trauma, that probably is a clue to what you really care about in the world. But if we act from that trauma, sometimes we go down a wrong direction that isn't actually in our alignment.
Yeah. I love that. I love, well, several things to say there. The trigger came to you in the form of this video, and you had like this rush of energy and emotion, like energy and emotions in your body, and you started to cry. And I love that your first reaction was, okay, this is happening. What is happening? I'm with those emotions. And you kind of waited a little bit and not fall into despair, because despair doesn't help anyone, but you're like, okay, what will I do? Do I go the one way in an extreme fashion that I'm going to be a full-time animal activist? No, I'm not going to do that. So what's within my alignment? And I think what's within my control, and what is something not too difficult. Well, no, it sounds bad when I say like that. What is something achievable that I can do so that it changes a little bit, And you actually started to, become vegan and reduce your, not use leather goods, etc.
Your idea is going down the toilet. That was a sound effect, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm going to use. Yeah. I have another one. There's the air horn. And if Arnaud says a really good point, I'll do the applause. But that was the flush sound effect because I wasn't agreeing.
I'm trying to find something cool to say so we get the applause. What do I need to do so that I have the air horn?
Oh, just got to drop an absolute bomb. Absolute knowledge bomb. I should have played it when you talked about the pyramid and the purposes outside of you.
Okay. All right. So, okay. Your age is actually the number of time you made the round around the sun, guys.
Oh.
Oh wait, you don't have the sound effect?
Yeah, I played it. You can't hear it, but I played it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The audience got the sound effect.
Yeah. Okay. I lost my previous train of thought, but that doesn't matter because I can take another one. I love that when you said that people who actually go out there and work for the change they want to see, they were touched in their life personally, and that there's a story that stuck with me when I was 16. My first real girlfriend, her dad was a truck driver, and he died when she was little. Well, old enough to remember it, And I remember once we were talking about a badly thought intersection of roads in the town we were living in, and she was like, "Well, but this sucks. This is dangerous. This is there are," and she pulled up some stats. I don't know where it was before the internet, so I don't know where she pulled it out. She was like, "There are this amount of people who die each year right here. I'm going to write something to the mayor so that he had the signs." And I was 16 years old. And I was, what? I was blown away by the energy that she had to make the change, and it was in her own alignment, because she was resonating. She wasn't forcing herself to do that. She really wanted to. So for some people, becoming the full-time animal activist might be the right thing, the thing that is in alignment. But as we said, like a few episodes ago, actually a few months ago now, pausing is the key here. Because when that happened to you, this PETA video, you paused, you spent some time with your feeling, and then you were like, okay, what do I do now which is purposeful, which is aligned with myself, that I really want to do, and that's not just the heat of the moment. And you were like, well, okay, I'm going to do this change, and this change. And when you were saying that, I was like, gee, this David is better than me, because I'm talking about the suffering of animals, and I still eat them every day. But there are some things that I've started to do, because oh no, I don't want to go there, not to get into a big.
But it's okay. It's okay, Arno, because it's okay, because if we look at this from the first part of our conversation, it's not about you going out there and fixing that problem in the world. It's about you figuring out, well, wait, what good, what purpose, what big consciousness shifts did I sign up for? The ones that are outside of me. What did I sign up for? And maybe you did sign up for the animal rights one, but your way of approaching that, your piece of actualizing that purpose might be a little bit different. There's no, one of the pieces of freedom that this idea gives us, of the purpose being outside of us, there's no set of rules. There's no right way to do it. Like I know a lot of militant vegans that are like, that will not even think, someone's a person if they, eat an egg once in a while. You know what I mean? They like, it's like, they think that, you can't be an environmentalist and be vegan. They just believe that it's just so hypocritical to do that. So, if you're not vegan, but you think you go plant a tree, you might as well go kill yourself. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really, I mean, that's an extreme way to say it, but that's how they sometimes talk.
Planted the tree, now I can kill myself.
That's how they sometimes talk. But that's really egoizing the idea, these ideas of purpose, and if these things, bits of purpose, live outside of us, and the cosmic intelligence knows like the perfect next step, the perfect timing that's actually going to create the sustainable full change that we want to see, then all you have to ask yourself is, what's my piece of this? What's my piece of this? What does it look like to me right now? What does my piece look like to me right now? And maybe that does get somebody to make big, huge, sweeping changes in their life. But maybe sometimes it'll just help someone relax and be like, well, you know what I'm doing right now, just, having meatless Monday or whatever, that thing,
exactly.
Thing that people
Tiny
do.
Steps.
Maybe that thing I'm doing right now, meatless Monday, that's my one way, that's my piece right now. And I'm going to continue to explore to see if I have a bigger piece. Or maybe my piece is, you have a podcast, and maybe when you interview people on your podcast, maybe, you end up being like, I'm going to interview like, an animal rights person and see what their life is like. I'm not saying you should do that, but that might be an idea that comes, and that could be your piece. Are we so arrogant to really believe we know? exactly what's needed for the cosmic
Yeah.
evolution in every situation, in every person. And we can make these rules about what's needed for the cosmic evolution. No, I mean, I think that would be a mistake. I mean, it's about just understanding what right now is my piece of this bigger thing that I signed up for. Yep, I am happy to be on the More Loving World email list. So what's the email I'm getting, right now? What can I do?
Love that, man. I love how you basically took an idea that was foreign to you at the beginning of the show and made it yours, and now you are bringing light to me, and I'm like, yeah, cool, I can eat my cured meats and be anti-suffering at the same time. Yeah. So I love that, and I love that you mentioned the tiny habits and the because one thing that came when you were talking about that is like, yeah, people will hear that, that once you have your purpose and or once you're triggered, rather, which make you realize you're upset. Okay, you're triggered, you realize you're upset about something, maybe it's connected to your purpose, and then you pause and then you act. But when you act, I'm happy that you brought the Meatless Monday, because you don't need to go full activist, as in act a lot. You can take a tiny step. Well, you know what? I don't really need to eat meat every day. I will eat it just twice a week, or I will buy just bio meat. This way I know that the animals lived happily, well, should have lived happily. I will do this, something smaller than just going full vegan.
Yeah.
To keep this same example, and that's super important. Whatever you do, beware of despair, because it doesn't help. And on the other hand of the spectrum, beware of ultra activism, because that might not be what you really want to do.
There's a lot of ultra activists that have ended up causing quite a harm, caused harm. Eckhart Tolle talks about that, sometimes. There's some great TED Talks by a guy named Ernesto Valverde, I think is his name. It might be Ernesto Silvero. I apologize to him, but he created this whole organization that basically shows people in really poor places how to become entrepreneurs, exactly where they are. Not from any other, he has like 3 TEDx talks, just look up Ernesto entrepreneurship, TEDx, you probably find it, but not from any, model from outside. He found a way to do it where the people, where they are and the needs of the community creates the entrepreneurship. And he just found the ingredients that are basically work in lots of different scenarios. And he just tries to help those ingredients happen. But the entrepreneurship basically comes from the inside out. And he's been doing this all over the world, this work, but he has an amazing story of his, and you can watch it in the TEDx talk, his early ventures as a nonprofit, try to change maker in Africa, trying to help, and just how it failed miserably, and I don't want to ruin the story, but he went in with the best ideas and the best intentions, but he didn't go in with listening. He didn't go in with his listening.
Okay.
And this is kind of what you're saying. Take the pause to really listen. What is my piece of this? What is really my piece of this? With the riots, with the protests, going out on in the US. I mean, some people have asked me, what do you think about the riots? You think people should be rioting? You think people should be protesting? What's the deal? And my answer is that there is no should. There is no yes, people should riot, and there's no people shouldn't riot. The question is, for each one of those people, is me participating in this public demonstration, is that my piece of this? Is that one of my pieces of what I signed up for? Is that what's in alignment with me to help move this change forward? And for some people, it's going to be no, and that's okay. Then what is your piece, if there is one? And some people, it's going to be yes. Then okay. Then feel sort of secure in your participation in those riots. It's It is part of your peace if it's coming from inside of you. Yeah. So there's no rules about what actions to take. It's always the question of, well, what is the thing that is what's my piece that matches me and my skills and my heart?
Yeah.
What is my email that I'm getting saying from the purpose that I signed up for? You signed up for, maybe one of the purposes you signed up for is to help make a more peaceful world. You hold this energy of peace within you. You work on something called peaceful creativity, and you were at a giant software company, full-time employee of a giant software company. And you didn't say to yourself, you weren't saying to yourself at that time, like, oh, this isn't my work. What am I going to do? But you were getting these emails about peace. So what did you do? You started meditation group in the software company. You started leading and teaching meditation right in the software company. People started to come. People started to show up. People were learning from you and saying, that it was a great experience. And most of us would feel like, might be in that situation, be like, oh, that's not good enough. I'm not really living my purpose. I'm not like, I could be doing something bigger, or like, this should be my full-time work, or, they would have all these things in their mind about why that wasn't somehow good enough. But maybe exactly where you were, exactly who you were, and where you were in that moment, that was your exact piece of the make a more peaceful world purpose that you signed up for. And maybe that's exactly what was needed to move that purpose forward a little bit. And that was your piece, exactly where you were.
Well, I wish I had known that because that was exactly the thing that you said. That's what I was telling myself. I should be doing something bigger. This is not enough. I wish more people would come to the meditation group, etc., etc. But you're totally right. It's like, again, that's the story of Lisa that we talked about in a previous episode, that you don't know the things that you do, even if they look tiny, you don't know which impacts it can have, so, okay, it's almost time. So I think.
Can you imagine if every person just, what would happen if every person just asked themselves, what is the big purposes that I've signed up for? And what's my little piece right now that I can do? Can you imagine the amount of change that would take place if every person just answered that one little question, and every single person was just doing something, even if it was small, exactly where they were, exactly who they are, exactly with what they have around them, to do their little piece of whatever big, good, positive change they signed up for, in their soul or heart. I mean, it'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. And I love how this is like, okay, it's almost like the infinitely big and the infinitely small, Okay, so what's the big purpose, which is bigger than myself, bigger than my money, my successes, my, whatever, my Teslas, my material, that's bigger than me. Okay. What's the big purpose that I've subscribed to? And what's the tiniest thing that I can do to help that? Because this one is crazy, or no way I can do that alone. But this one, this tiny stuff, of course I can do that. Of course, Meatless Monday, piece of cake, Meatless Monday and Tuesday, bitch. So that would be amazing if everyone would do that. And I guess the mid step is probably pausing against, like connecting, pausing. Okay, and now what's the tiniest stuff that I really want to do? I'm excited. It feels easy.
That's
the number of problems that would disappear. The number of problems, because of course you do Meatless Monday and Meatless Tuesday, but then it's working, like you're feeling good. So then you will add something else, will come in a natural way, and it will grow from there. But that would be amazing. So maybe that's the purpose of the Revolution, is to have as many people as possible ask themselves these questions.
That's an interesting idea. But I love your formula that you made, this idea, there's this huge purpose that seems impossible. But you know what? It is for only one person. but you're not one person. You signed up for that purpose, and so did millions of others. So what's your little piece? And how can you find other people with that purpose? You know, and pause. I love that. Pause and connect. Find your little piece. I mean, I think we solved it, Arno. If everybody did that, we just solved the world. Air horn.
Okay, all right. And I know a tiny thing I can do to make that a little bit more of a reality. So I will do it and share if it's working.
Great, man. Me too. This is giving me a lot of energy for the Revolution, because I like writing, but I haven't really figured, so I'm going to be like, wait a minute. No, but whatever I want to write, that's my little piece. Even if I end up writing a weird fiction story or some poem, that's my little piece. That's still connected to my big purpose. It's not like if I write a weird, funny poem, it's not outside my purpose. Maybe that's what I connected, that's my little piece of the purpose that I signed up for. Remember, you coached me once, and I got to this idea of like poem way, that part of what I want to bring is like help people shift their perspective with a poem like thing, with like a metaphor, and not just having to be so direct all the time. Well, maybe my mind is like, but that's separate from this work and that's separate from this work. But why?
Yes.
Why? Yes. Maybe that's my piece of what I subscribe to. Oh, by the way, we got our first comment right before the show ends. Claudia says, quote, "We just solved the world," unsubscribes. And then she has this laughy face. Yeah. Unsubscribe. Mm-hmm. We solved
unsubscribe. Oh yeah, because I guess there is nothing else to
we finished.
Well, okay, all right.
Yeah.
They did it again. Oh my god.
The channel's over, guys. The channel's ending. We're shutting down everything. We've solved it. This is the only video ever.
Yeah. Turning on the light and okay.
All right, Arno, bring us home. Close out the show. It's time.
Okay. Sorry, what should I do? Like sum up or
however you want, buddy.
Or what?
Whatever is in your heart now. Bring it home.
Okay. So guys, David and I, we really love to do the PeaCreaLive. I mean, that's pretty much egoistical at this point, because like we're just hanging out and we have a nice conversations and we're having a blast and so, but that's cool, that's energy pump. Go back to previous episodes to get the reference. We are in the process of organizing things a little bit differently. So there are still going to be regular shows. It's still going to be interactive, so you guys can, ask us questions, share insights. But we are to prepare some special stuff for you, and we're probably going to connect that to a Patreon. So just stay in touch, like us on or befriend us on Facebook, because that's typically where we announce the shows. Or of course subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you get notified. And I guess the message is, don't forget to pause, and things that upset you might give you, okay, this video is called "What's My Purpose?" If you're looking for your purpose, one way, as David talked about, to find yours is to look at things that really piss you off. When you're upset, crying, angry, what's the problem that you like to solve? And maybe that's your purpose, maybe not, but that's one way to look for it. And what we said today that's super important is, like, once this happens, once you have this trigger, don't just go full activist immediately. Pause and look at a tiny thing that you can do. Big picture, big problem that you want to solve, pause, tiny thing that you want to do. And I guess that's what I want to leave you guys with tonight. And David, I'll leave you the parting words.
Oh, that was beautiful, Arno. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for Claudia for her comment. And thank you for, if you found this video useful, please like it, because that helps us. It helps the channel. And we look forward to seeing you on a future episode of PeaCreaLive. Some weekdays, pretty much every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central European time. on this channel right here. And see you. Be friends with us on Facebook, and you'll get a little update before we start. Subscribe here, you'll see the show. But however you want to stay in touch, thank you. And you came here for a reason. You didn't just show up being a human as a coincidence. You signed up for something. You signed up for something really magical. So thanks for subscribing to that email list, whatever it is. Until next time, everybody, time for the outro.
Bye-bye.